Hi, what I want to do now is to talk about accounting for derivatives, and we need to appreciate that derivatives are a subset of financial assets and financial liabilities. However, it's probably best to think about the accounting for these quite separately, as the accounting here is much more restrictive than what we saw for assets or liabilities more generally. In terms of derivatives, the initial recognition is once again addressed in paragraph 3.1.1, and we'd have to recognise a financial asset or financial liability which is a derivative when an entity becomes party to the contract. This might be either trade date or settlement date accounting, and it must be classified in accordance with paragraph 4.1.1 to 5 if it's an asset, and 4.2.1 to 2 if it's a liability, and it must be measured in accordance with paragraph 5.1.1. The classification is much more straightforward in relation to derivatives. And if you look at 4.1.4, it says that an entity shall classify or shall measure all financial assets at fair value through the profit or loss, unless some exceptions are met. These are not applicable for derivatives. So none of the exceptions are applicable for derivatives, so therefore all derivatives which are assets must be recognisable at fair value, must be classified as fair value through the profit or loss. In relation to liabilities, there is the ability to classify financial liabilities at amortised cost, except for derivatives, and derivatives which are classified as fair value through the statement of profit or loss. So in relation to derivatives, it's a relatively straightforward process. They are all required to be recognised, whether they're financial assets or financial liabilities, as fair value through the profit or loss. They meet none of the exceptions. In terms of initial recognition, it's pretty straightforward because all derivatives, whether they be assets or liabilities, are fair value through the statement of profit or loss. Then obviously a derivative is going to be recognised initially at its fair value, and that's it. And in terms of subsequent measurement, well, because we talk about assets and liabilities more generally being measured on a basis which is consistent with their classification, because all derivatives are fair value through the statement of profit or loss, then derivatives, in terms of their subsequent measurement, are all going to be fair value through the statement of profit or loss. And the same applies to liabilities, derivatives which are liabilities. They will also be all recognised at fair value through the statement of profit or loss. Gains or losses on derivatives are generally going to go through the statement of profit or loss. And so when it comes to derivatives, it's pretty straightforward fair value